Good. Right, so what we're going to do then is we're going to start with some very gentle back strengtheners, okay? And so what I'd like you to do is you're going to lie on your tummy. I'll demonstrate it first. It's straightforward. You're lying on your tummy. You've got your hands like this, okay? Your head's going to go on your hands. And then your feet, this is the important thing, your feet, you sort of tuck your toes under, so your feet are together. And it's literally, you're just engaging your glutes. It starts to give you an awareness of your piriformis muscle, which is deep in the upper back. Your pelvis is level, so it gives you a good sense of alignment. And you're strengthening your glutes, and you're releasing the, and tightening the piriformis, so you're overall releasing it. So you line up this, and then you just take your feet off, your knees off the floor, so you really make your legs active. Clenching your bum, there's no other way of describing it. And you do that for 20 seconds. And you might feel it. So, Steph, go easy with your back on this, but you'll feel it. It's going to help with strengthening and lengthening the lower back. Okay? And then you release. Let the head come to one side. We're going to do that 4 times. Each time, you'll bring the head to rest, facing the other way. All right? So get into position, please. So you're lying on your tummy. You've got your feet and toes together. You've got your forehead resting on your hands, which are on the floor. If that, you should look at that. And then everyone, and moving on an exhale. If you move on an exhale, it's very hard for the muscles to spasm. So exhaling, just engaging, bringing the knees off the floor, really engaging the legs, sort of pulling, actively tightening. You'll feel the thighs tightening, you'll feel the buttocks tightening, all the glute muscles. You'll possibly feel that in the lower back. Keep going, we do that for 20 seconds. And then release, let the feet flop out, so the heels flop out and the toes turn in. So the toes are almost touching and the heels flop out. So I'll show you. And the head is resting on the hands, okay? So that's really good. The counter pose with the heels and the toes releases the sacrum, which is this area of the back, and it just releases it. You may well feel it loosening. It's a nice sensation. Okay, now make a note of which side you had your head on, and then come to having forehead. With the forehead as well, just let the skin, so sort of push your hands against your forehead against your hand slightly, so you're pulling the skin down. So you're not doing a surprised expression, you're smoothing the skin, if that makes sense. Instead of pushing the forehead up, skin up, you're pulling it down. That can be very calming. Okay? And it's just releasing the softening. So off we go again. So feet are together, actively engage your toes. So toes are tucked under, pull the kneecaps up, feel your bum tighten. Keep breathing. You may well feel that in the lower back. Feel it working. And then release. Let the heels of the feet fall out, toes point in, turn the head the other way, and relax the cheek against the hands. So you're alternating which way the head and the cervical spine is getting stretched, okay? So just relax. So this is a nice gentle exercise. But very good. It's a pain relieving pose if you have some back issues, lower back issues. Okay, and off we go again then. So feet together, sort of big toes touching if that's possible. Toes curled under. Exhale, pull up the thighs, pull the knees. Think about pulling your knees towards your thighs. Or kneecaps up, that will activate the legs. Really actively squeeze the glutes. Keep breathing. Think about where you feel that, because you've got the floor giving you a nice level surface, a nice alignment for the pelvis and the hips, and this will allow you to just feel that. Okay, and then release and let the head, so heels flop out, toes are in, head comes to the opposite side, so we're back on the first side now. I'm not moving mine because obviously I'm talking to you. I need to face the camera to do that. You all right, Bibiana? Yeah? Keep looking down till you're relaxing the neck. So you've got your head resting on the hands, okay? And then last time, so toes curl under. Lift the forehead up. Looking down at the hands. Toes curl under, knees are up and off the floor. Thumbs engage. Legs, tighten all the muscles in the legs, make it really active. And the target areas, the glutes and the upper part of the back of the thighs and the lower back. Keep breathing. And release, let go. Last one. Turn the head, so head's resting on hands, or rather your cheeks resting on hands. So that's a very effective one for the back. We will now push ourselves back up and just come into child's pose for a second. So it's gentle start, toes are touching, knees are wide. You can go for an active child's pose and have the hands tented. Forehead again, just sliding it so that you're smoothing the skin on the forehead down rather than pushing it up. And then take the hands over to the left-hand side of the mat, please. You can place your right hand on top of your left hand, if that's comfortable for you. And then push with the hands, push the body back, make sure you've got contact, or you've increased the stretch of the bottom towards your heels. If that feels uncomfortable on the knees, you can always have a blanket under the knees. You can also put a blanket, a rolled up blanket behind the back of the knee as well. This gives you a bit more space in the joint, in the knee joint. And then come over to the other side. Left hand come on top of right. Pushing back with the arms slightly just to increase that. This gives me a much stronger stretch here. But you're going to feel it wherever you're tight. I get stretched in the armpit. All right, now we're going to just do something that is a little bit intense. So I'm going to ask you to come on to, you can skip this, you can stay in Sphinx. If you know you've had a hard day, you can come into Sphinx and watch, and then maybe when you're feeling energetic on another day, you can try this. Or you might want to go into Sphinx for a second, just to watch me. So maybe I'd suggest that, go into Sphinx. What we're going to do is we're going to come into plank pose. So you want to push up through the shoulder blades. You really want to make that active. Okay. And then you come on to the side and take your hand up. Whee! So that's working your obliques. So you may think, not today. Okay, have a go at doing that, please. Do it so you're facing the camera. Push up, push the hips up, and then come back down into plank again. So that was working the oblique muscles, the side muscles, and now we're working abdominals. And then same on the other side. So feet come on top of each other. Whee! And back into plank. Okay, brilliant. And then release down. Come onto your knees. So we're doing cat-cow, but with our forearms on the floor, which is working the upper back. Cat-cow. So if your instincts, come up with cat-cow, please. And then come and do full cat-cow. Just releasing the whole of the spine. Really connecting to the breath. And then from here, push into downward dog. And walk the dog. So alternating one leg and then the other, bending the knee, opening up the backs of the legs. And I would like you to take your right leg up into the air. Let the heel drop towards your bottom. So you're opening up the hip. Keep the arms straight. And then bring that leg through. So bring the right foot forward. So it's between the hands. I quite like to have a block here or a cushion for my left knee. Completely optional. I just like the sense of support. So I brought the block here now. Okay, I'm just going to adjust this so you can see me. Everyone doing okay? Yeah? Great. So what I would like to do is bring your hands up into cactus. You can have, I've got my top of my foot is on the floor. It's optional. Okay, I want you to be able to get the position right. So I've got the top of the foot on the floor. You can have the foot curled under if you want. And then we're doing cactus arms. So take the arms back. And it's opening up the chest. It's a gentle back bend. It's also working the front quadriceps. And then from here, we're going into a twist. So we're going to take the arm across the body. So I'll turn around so you can see me. So arms coming across the body. Other hand comes on top. And it's a twist. You're pushing down with the top arm. And that gives you a deep side stretch. And release. And then before we go to the other side, I'm just straightening out my front leg. I don't seem to have much luck with the positioning of the computer, do I? So you're straightening, that leg was bent, the front leg, now you're straightening it. Think of that as if you were trying to pull the heel towards you. So you're scissoring your thighs together, okay? So just feel that, and you get a nice stretch here in the back of the leg. Okay. That's great. And then we're going to push back into downward dog and do the same on the other side. So bring the foot back and into downward dog. And the leg goes up in the air and drops towards the bottom. Arms stay straight. And then bring the leg through. Optional support for the knee, completely up to you. And first pose, coming up. Hands are coming back. Belly's drawn in. So this is chest opener, heart opener. Hands are in cactus. Looking up. Opening up the throat. And then bring the arm across the body and do a twist. then release. Straighten the front leg. And again, same thing. Imagine you're pulling the heel to activate the whole of the back of the leg towards you. Scissoring the thighs. A nice stretch. Okay, and then before we release that, you might want to just look. We're going to bring out the back leg, and then you're going onto the side of the foot, outside edge of the foot, outside edge of the back foot, hands coming out in front of you, and you're turning and looking behind, okay? So you're going to do that 3 times. So this is just really, this hopefully be good for your Achilles. Exhale and turn. Inhale, come forwards, and then last time, keep the back leg active so this hip doesn't drop. Turn. And then come back. And I want you to come back into downward dog. And from here, we're going to go into dolphin. So you bring the forearms onto the floor. And take the head back. Possibly between the arms. This is strong. So you can come into child's pose if this feels too much. You know what sort of day you've had. You've made it to the class. That in and itself is enough. And then coming up into either out of child's pose back into downward dog, or from dolphin to downward dog. We're taking the other leg up now and back. So I'm using my right leg forward with the left. And then I'm bringing it forward. And it's the same thing. My right arm is coming out in front of me. And on an exhale, I'm coming, bringing the arm back behind me. And I'm going onto the side of my front foot and the side of the back foot. Okay, but keep the back thigh lifting. There's a tendency to drop it. You don't want any discomfort in the knee. This is getting you to the outside of the calf, various other places, but you don't want any discomfort in the knee. If you've got that, come out of the pose, go into dragon or some other runner's lunge. Coming back, so we're there for quite a while. Exhale, turning again. Inhale, coming forward. And then last time, exhale. And then coming forward. Okay, and then we're back in downward dog. And now I want you to keep working with the right leg. Bring the right leg up. And we're still working the outside of the leg. You're going to bring the right leg forward now to behind the left hand or wrist. You've got the foot bent, so as if you were walking, okay? And just very slowly, so this is called the active pigeon, just bending the arm slightly. And letting the leg move up and down. Again, be cautious of the knee. It should be outside of the leg that this gets into. The IT band. Okay. It's strong, I know. Bring it back. Well done. And then same again with the left leg. So raise the left leg up. So knee, foot's dropping to pointing towards your bottom, knees in the air. And then bring the leg through. I'm using my hand. So now the left leg has gone behind the right hand, foot's flexed, and the same procedure. So this is strong on the arms as well. Bending the arms and working into that. Okay. One more. And release. Come back into downward dog. And then walking forwards, we're going to dangle. So we've just done the outside of the legs. And now we're doing the backs of the legs, the whole of the back of the body actually. So to dangle, you just get hold of your elbows and maybe sway a little, shake the head, make sure there's no tension in the head or in the neck. bend the knees. If you've got any tightness happening at the top of the hamstrings, please do bend the knees. It's a lovely inversion. So the blood's coming to the head, which is going to energize you. And then push the hands into your shins and straighten them up. Down would be really nice down against the wall. So this could be a really lovely part of wall yoga. Exhale, get hold of the calves and pull yourself a bit deeper. Inhale, push into the shins. 2 more times. Exhale, pull yourself a bit deeper. Inhale, push into the shins. Exhale, pull yourself a bit deeper. And you can possibly, if you want to, you could take the hands down and place them under the heels. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we're not hugely warmed up. Some might feel too strong on the backs of the legs. And then release. And very slowly come standing. So 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming up, coming up, coming up. Okay, hello. I've got a nice set of legs now. I can't see anyone's face. Okay, so we're going to go into a standing pose. Okay, we're going to go into tree pose. So I'd like you to ground down through your left foot. Bring the right foot anywhere you like on the left leg. You don't want it on the knee, so you might find that you've got very sort of soft leggings. These do feel quite squishy, so I'm going quite low down. If it's a wobbly day, you can have the foot actually resting, the toe resting on the floor. Yeah, you can do that. So the toe is actually resting on the floor, or here, or higher. You can maybe have to lift the foot up and push it actively into the side. So just go with what works for you. You know, it will vary. All standing poses vary from day to day. There's really there's a lot to do with hormones, things like that. So you can, if you want, you can roll up the leggings if you want to get really carried away, and then you've got the contact of skin against skin, which can make it more accessible. Once you're feeling solid in the pose, you've got your hands in prayer. Find something fixed to stare at. And then you may want to take the arms above the head. You have the fingers splayed. Active tree. Check that the shoulder blades are down the back, even though you're reaching up, but they're not around the ears, okay? And then release, okay? Now do the same thing on the other side. So just repeat whatever you did on that side. I know this looks a bit peculiar, but it just allows me to do it. So grounding down to the standing leg, and then the other leg up. If you fall out of the pose, just get back in. I mean, one of the very good things about this pose is the way it focuses the mind. You can't be thinking, planning, you really are focused on balancing. And then if it's good to take the hands up, take the hands up. Think about what your shoulders are doing. And then release. Great. So whilst we're in standing pose, I'd like you to come into a wide stance. Feet are pointing forwards or slightly in. So you may remember when we were lying on the floor with the first pose, we had, when the feet pointed in, you could feel that releasing the lower back and just creating a bit of space in the muscles here. So you get the same thing with having the feet slightly in. If you've got them pointing out, you can just feel it. If you put the feet out, you can feel that way that contracts the buttocks and it contracts this area in the lower back. It's worth doing that just to get that sensation, and then bring them forward, feet pointing forward, and then bring them in. And can you feel the difference in what that does to the lower back? All this postural awareness really, really helps. Yeah? So go with either straight forward or slightly pointing in. And then we're going to just leading with the sternum. So what this does, if you lead with the sternum, it means that you're using the hips. So you're using the hips to come forward. Whereas if you're doing, you can see it, but you can feel it. If you come down more, you're leading with the pelvis, okay? So we're going to, I quite like to use the back of my mat to make sure my heels are level. If you can find you've got a tight hip, you tend to bring one foot slightly further forward. So coming forwards, leading with the chest, we're bringing our hands onto our legs, and we're just going to look over one shoulder, and then over the other shoulder. One shoulder. More my arm actually that I'm looking over, I come a bit higher. One shoulder, and then the other. So very gentle side stretch. And then if that feels okay, I'm going to now ask you, if you'd like to, you can take a hand onto the leg. So I've gone for right hand on left leg, and my left arm's coming up, and I'm making it a deeper turn, a deeper twist. So I'm actively pulling on this leg. So that was 4 breaths, and I'm going to come across, slide my hands across, and do the same thing on the other side. So I'm getting hold of the shin. You can be holding higher out, it's absolutely fine. And then you're taking the top arm, you're taking the hand behind the back. And if you've got long arms, you may well be able to see your arm coming right across the body. But that's just taking the shoulder back, okay? It's taking my right shoulder back and then exhaling, pulling with the hand that's on the leg to take myself a bit deeper. Check that you're not holding any tension in the neck. Brilliant. Okay, and then from here, what I want you to do is I want you to slowly come over to the left and see how that feels. So you're coming over to the left. My right heel can possibly be, foot can be flexed, it's completely optional. See how you feel, okay? So, if you've been doing quite a bit of running, this will be challenging. What you're going to do, possibly bring your hands into prayer, maybe not, but we've done a fair bit on opening up the back of the leg. So go with what feels comfortable for you. Again, you don't want any strain on the knee, okay? And then you can see, play with, I don't know if it can work for me today, it would be coming up without touching the floor and going over to the other side. I put my hands down, absolutely fine. You just go with what works for you. And then you can keep your foot on the floor, or what I'm doing to deepen the stretch on the back of the leg is I'm bringing the toes up. Okay, so we're going to do that again. No, still can't do it. Really tighten the hips. Coming over, repeating. Hands can stay on the floor or come into prayer. If they come into prayer, you may be able to get a bit of leverage with the elbow against the knee. So deep stretch. Everyone finding that okay? Yeah? So go with what works for you, and then last time, over to this side. I would advise trying this on different days and see how different the pose can be. If you've done a few sun salutations, this would be warmer on the back of the legs, it'd be easier. Great, and then from here, we're going to turn, and we're coming into runner's lunge. Okay, and I'm bringing the back leg off the ground, and just rocking. So working into the hips, we're still working into the hips. Rocking back and forth. And then drop the knee. Place the top of the foot on the ground and then bring the knee up. So now the stretch is going to happen higher up in the hip flexors and groin area. And then release that. And then straighten. Front leg again. Pull the toes back towards you. And if you want to make it stronger, you could take your hand and pull the toes back towards you. Depends how open you are in the back of the legs. You know, I'm aware that this is just, it really is just searching for sensation. It's not an essential part of the pose at all. The pulling the heel, imagine you're dragging the heel towards you, and really activate the back of the leg. I think that's enough, you know. But if you want to get some sensation here, or you really want to work into your foot, then you can hold your toes. Now we've got to do all that again on the other side. So before we do, I'm going to do one more side twist. So arms coming up, arms coming across the body, hands coming on top, and twist. Okay, and then hands come down. Take the leg back. Briefly into the downward dog, I know it's my one's favourite. And the same thing on the other side. Left foot's coming forward, so it's runner's lunge. Just rocking backwards and forwards, feeling the hip opening. So if you've been sat in a chair a lot today, this should feel quite strong and hopefully pleasant. Backwards and forwards. And then dropping the knee down, putting the top of the foot on the floor, lifting. If it feels too strong lifting the knee off the floor, please don't lift the knee off the floor. If you want to, if you like that deep stretch in the groin and the hip flexors, you know you're particularly tight there, you want to work into that area, take the knee off. And release down. Straighten the standing leg. It might be that you're more upright, absolutely fine. Yeah. Straighten the front leg. Or you could take advantage of having blocks either side of the leg if you wanted more support. Taking the toes up, imagining that the heel, you're pulling the heel towards you. You're going to feel that all the way back of the leg, might feel it in the glutes. Just depends where you're tight. And again, you've got that option if you want of pulling the toes towards you to work the foot. And you can bring the head further forwards as well, towards the shin, all optional. So feel into it, feel what works for you. And then let that go. So bring the foot back. We're going to come into a squat. So you might want to put some blocks under your heels. I've done quite a bit on the back of the leg, so it might be that you can get the heels around, maybe not, really doesn't matter. So this is a nice decompress for the lower back, but go with what you need to do. If you want to sit on some blocks again, absolutely fine. If you need that support, please use that support. Whichever way you get in and are supported in this pose, once you're sat in this position, you will be giving your lower back lovely release. Okay. If you've got the arms in contact with the legs, please push the arms against the legs just to open up hips a little bit more. Think about lifting the chest. And one more side twist. I'm going to bring right arm onto the floor, and my left hand is going to come up, and I'm going to look towards my left hand. So I'm getting a side twist and a hip opener. And then come back into prayer. Take a couple of breaths here, again thinking about lifting the chest. And then same again on the other side, hand comes down, so left hand's come to the floor, right arm's gone up, and I'm looking. Okay. And now I'd like you to come to the floor. So lowering down, actually before we go down, could you come onto your knees, have your hands wide as the mat. We're just going to work the shoulders a little bit, just to get awareness of the shoulders. So let the chest drop. You might want to look at me. I'm letting the chest just drop between the shoulder blades, and then I'm pushing up, and I'm rounding the upper back. Okay? Just creating movement in the shoulders and awareness. We're pushing up and rounding in the upper back, and then letting the chest drop through, down low, and then let the arms stay straight. So do that a few times. Create some movement there in the upper back. Okay, and then very slowly, with control, coming down to the floor. Keep your elbows in. Get to the floor. Fantastic. Let the feet flop out. Let the hands come onto the forehead. Wiggle your bum. Release that. So the heels are out, toes are in, just as they were with the first pose. And then I'd like you to come into Sphinx. See how that feels. Imagine you're pulling yourself along, using your hands, and roll the shoulders back. And then reach back. So right hand's coming back for right foot. Now I'm taking the foot towards my bottom. Go and do the same again on the other side. Right foot's coming towards right bottom. And then you can stay with both feet up in Sphinx. Gentle back bend. And let that go. We're going to come onto our backs now. So rolling onto our backs. And I want you to draw your right knee into your chest and push through the heel of the left foot. Roll the shoulders back and down onto the floor. And then taking hold, keeping hold of the right shin. Take the leg out to the side and sort of frog. Or you might find it easier to hold underneath the. So I've got my hand going under the leg, and I've got hold of my inner thigh. Other hand is holding down my left hip. Okay. So it's like a frog. You're doing a frog leg. So the leg is coming out. I'll turn face towards you. So it's two ways of holding the leg. You can hold the leg from underneath, or you can hold the leg from the top. Keep the left thigh pinned down. And now I'd like you to take behind the leg. So you're doing half happy baby. can wrap your arm underneath back of the knee, that can feel quite nice. Or maybe you want to get hold of the foot, whichever feels good for you. And you're pulling the knee towards your armpit. And so that's a nice deep working into the hip. Same again on the other side now. So first of all, it's knee into chest. And then it's knee out to the side. Whichever way you prefer. You're keeping the foot flexed, so it's like a frog, so half a frog. Keep the other leg active, extended leg active. Think about both shoulder blades in contact with the floor. Use the alignment of the floor. So you're working strongly into the hip of the bent leg. Hip and hip flexors. And then bring the leg, however works best for you. What you're wanting to do is have the lower leg pointing towards the ceiling as if you're walking on the ceiling. So you can either wrap the arm around the back of the knee, or you can get a hold of the outside of the foot, or you can get hold of the big toe. And then you're pulling the knee towards your armpit. Whilst we're here, we just think about lengthening and slowing the breath. I'm going to do a breath count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the leg now. And get behind the back of the leg. Instead of releasing it, you're going to get behind the back of the left leg. And bring the forehead up towards the knee. That's really working the back of the leg. And then let that leg come back to the floor. And do the other side. You can be holding on to the thigh, it doesn't have to be the calf. Just pull the belly in and bring the forehead towards the leg. And release. Okay. Both feet on the floor. Knees in the air. Recuperative rest. And then draw the knees towards the chest. And we're doing a reclining twist. So you can have the hands in cactus arms, depends on how much space you've got. You can have them directly coming out either side. So crucifix type of arms, or T-shaped, a nicer way of calling it. And then bring the knees over to the right. If you want to make it more intense, you can take the left leg on top of the right knee. Sorry, that's right leg on top of the left knee. But that's really taking it to the outside of the hip a bit more. It might not be what you want. It might not be where you need to work. So go with what feels like it's getting the nicest, deepest, most relaxed stretch. You don't want to be straining. But a nice, this should be luxuriating. It's like marinating, eh? The longer you stay here. So I'm going to go with knees directly on top of each other. And then look over your extended left arm. And again, do the breath count, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the next exhale, bring the legs up, so moving on the exhale, and take them over to the other side. And repeat whatever you did on the first side. Be prepared for the fact you're going to have one side that's stiffer than the other, so you may need more support on the second side, in which case, please get some support for either between the knees or below the lower knee, if it's not in contact with the floor. And then once you've made yourself comfortable, you can turn the head to look over the right hand, and we'll continue with the breath count. So that's inhaling 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Carry on with that breath count in your own head. And feel the way. It's very easy to feel the breath in the body in this twist because you can feel the ribs expanding because of the tautness of the stretch. Really feel the way the breath moves in the body. And then from here, bring both feet onto the floor. We're going to do some inversions. So if you want to go into shoulder start, then feel free to do that. Otherwise, taking the block between the knees, gripping the block, which is going to allow you to work the core a bit. Going to inhale and come up, grip the block. Think about taking the knees towards the toes, really engaging the glutes. You can possibly interlace fingers to get yourself a bit higher. You might want to wiggle your hands towards your heels, take it a bit deeper. I'm going to do it 3 times, so go with whichever version for now, and then releasing down slowly from shoulder blades all the way down to the lower back. Now we're going to stay here just for one breath, and then off we go again. If you want to go to the wheel or a deeper back bend, feel free to. The second one coming up on the inhale, I'm going to go for getting hold of my ankles. You can even put your hands under the ankles. That can be a really good way of getting the shoulders underneath the back a bit more. Keep gripping your block. Oops, there's my alarm. Take 2 more breaths and then lower down slowly. And then do 1 more, please. Okay, so coming into the last one. I would keep the block if you can, just because that's very good for engaging the core and keeping the knees in. So you might not go as high. Lifting up, go on, a little bit more. Last couple of breaths. And then release. Come down. And we're going to slowly come into Shavasana. So feel free to get a blanket put over you, wiggling myself into a relaxed position. So you can keep the feet on the floor if that feels comfortable for you. That could be nice for the lower back. If you've got a bolster, you can put a bolster underneath the knees. That's very lovely. Relaxing. If you've got a sofa nearby, you can put the feet up on the sofa. That's a lovely, that's a very gentle inversion. Yeah. And come to resting. Check that think about it, does your chin feel like it's higher than your forehead? If it does, you may need to put something under the neck. And then I'd like you to take a big inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. I'm going to do that 3 more times. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. The last 2, just exhale out anything that's been bothering you, emotionally or physically. So big inhale and then exhale, sigh it out. Any half-finished conversations, any thing that's irritating and niggling, anything that was left unsaid, just let it go now. Big inhale. And then release it into the ether. Let the air carry it away. And feel that sense of settling. Check that the jaw's not clenching. If it is, move the lower jaw from side to side. Let the tongue curl and possibly go behind the back of the top teeth, or wherever feels comfortable. Bring your awareness to your teeth. You can feel your teeth. You run your tongue against your teeth, you can feel each individual tooth. And the gums. And the top of the mouth, palate. Insides of the cheeks, and then bring awareness to the outside of the cheeks. As we bring our awareness to different areas in the body, the awareness itself is enough to create a sense of letting go. Okay, some areas may be chronically tight and might not want to release, and that's absolutely fine. Just bringing your awareness to them as a gentle, like wrapping yourself in a blanket, just a gentle, kindness, considerateness, yeah? So he's going to scan through the body now. So bring your awareness to the crown of the head, and then the back of the head, curvature of the neck, and then the shoulder blades. Feel the backs of the arms in contact with the floor. If you prefer to rest, I'm sorry about this, if you prefer to rest your hands on your belly and come into contact with your abdomen, absolutely fine. From the shoulders, become aware of the curvature of the spine, so the spaces in the back, and then you come to the lower back, the lumbar curve, and the hips and the pelvis. Feel a softening there, a loosening. We've done a lot of work on the hips tonight and the side of the body. Perhaps the toes can just turn out slightly more, which will show that there's a release in the hip flexors. Feel the backs of the thighs, the buttocks as well. Space at the back of the knee, and then the calf muscles in contact with the floor and the heels. And then scanning from top to bottom, it goes back of the head, shoulders, backs of the arms, lower back, hips, pelvis, thighs, calf muscles, heels, all those points of contact with the floor. Feel a settling there. And if you're able to stay in Shavasana for a few more minutes to relax, then please take advantage of the comfort of being at home. And you can just absorb the benefits of the muscular release that's happened and the settling that comes with lying on the hard supportive surface of the floor, and what that does to the alignment of the body and the spine. Or if you to surface, then slowly bring a bit of movement back into the body. It can be taking the head gently from side to side, but very slowly in your own time, just easing yourself back into a sense of possibly thumb against fingertips or tongue against lips. And draw the knees into the chest if that feels nice, and just give yourself a little hug and release of the lower back. And very slowly, in your own time, make your way up to sitting. Taking as much time as you need, or like I say, stay in Shavasana. A lovely place to be. And congratulate yourself, whatever you're doing, on taking a bit of time to practice and look after yourself and nourish yourself tonight. So thank you for practicing with me.